Hey there, just wanted to jump on and kind of share my experience with Starlink over the last week or so. I know there's a ton of videos out on YouTube just of how it works and everything, but I think every use case for it is a little bit different. So I kind of wanted to share mine. I've been in Mexico now for the last week or so. Actually got in Mexico on Tuesday, so it'll be a week tomorrow. And I've officially been using it since Wednesday when I got into the town that I was planning to use it in. Currently in the state of Michoacan in Mexico. Specifically the town that I'm in has very limited resources when it comes to internet and reliable internet at that. So I really wanted to find something that would work specifically for what I needed it for and something that was reliable. So I kind of went into Starlink because it was like kind of the next best thing that I could really think of using. So again, I just wanted to share my experience with it, what's worked. I'll save you some time if you want to know if it's good. It's been phenomenal. So if that's all you're kind of looking for, then that's kind of the summary of this. However, I wanted to share my experiences, some things I've learned along the way, and kind of some things I would change if I could go back, and really just share the experience as a whole. And whether, maybe you're traveling to Mexico or somewhere else with maybe that not very reliable internet. This I think is going to be a great option for you, but I want to kind of share how I've used it and what I've learned from using it over the last week or so. Just to add a little bit more context into why I wanted to use Starlink. So we do have internet here, my cousin does, but I didn't want to rely on her internet to be able to connect. She also, I don't believe, has unlimited, so I didn't want to worry about potentially having her go over her data plan and her paying extra, especially where I know that in Mexico those fees can be pretty excessive. The other thing to note is that specifically in the town that I'm in Michoacan, internet is very unreliable. So it could be working today and then tomorrow it might be out for a day or two. So I wanted something that was going to be constantly connected that I don't have to worry about. And so I think this was really the best option for me. So up next, I'll kind of jump in terms of how I'm using it specifically here. I'll show the setup. I do have the router connected to it at the moment, as well as, obviously the Starlink Mini. All right, so without further ado, let's go into the setup and kind of what I'm using here to connect. All right, so here is kind of how our house looks. So it's actually pretty unique in the sense that if you step outside to any of the rooms, you're literally outside. So again, perfect case scenario for using the Starlink here because you need wide open sky to connect. So this is the best. I'll kind of show this is obviously where it's located here. But yeah, kind of a really cool setup here with just the way our home was set up. So it was perfect for this. So again, I have the Starlink connected there. It is connected to the right over there by the washer. So you'll kind of see where it's connected there. And we have the very long cable just kind of hanging there. But yeah, so there is the Starlink, the way I have it oriented. I did go through the app to make sure it was pointed correctly. Here in a moment, I'll go ahead and go through the rest of the accessories I've purchased and kind of how I'm using this. All right, so if we jump over here, you'll kind of see where the router is connected. So this guy is only $40, highly recommend, only because it does extend your Wi-Fi coverage. Not sure it was necessary per se, but my room is in that kind of door over there, so you can kind of see where the Starlink is. Fairly close proximity. I do have it just connected wirelessly. You can use a cable to connect this through Ethernet. However, may not be necessary. I'm not really using it. I'm still getting good speeds, which I'll share at some point, but still getting good speeds nonetheless. Here, what I'll do too. So when I mentioned there's some things I learned. One of them was that when I was first connecting, I had to connect and reconnect due to some issues I was having. If you ever need to reset this, it's going to be located with that little pin area there. So that's how you can factory reset it. But basically what it's doing is booting and rebooting every single time I try to connect it. And it's because it did a software update, which didn't fully complete when I first purchased the Starlink. So just something to note there. If you end up getting it, let it do the full install before disconnecting it. So that caused it to repeatedly loop, and I had to do a factory reset to get that adjusted, but that thing's been pretty awesome thus far. All right, and now for the accessories. So really this has kind of been the main things I've been using here. Suction cups, those went on the windshield in our car there when we were driving here. And then of course to power it there, there's this cable that's sold through Starlink as well, which I'll include links to all of this below. That way you guys can purchase them if you decide to. as well as the Starlink Mini where you can get a free month there. However, this has been a game changer. So what we did is we attached this here into the corner of our windshield in the car. You can also do it in the back. And this, of course, to the car adapter there and the cigarette port. But we were able to have internet through the mountains. So it's literally, the town I'm located is, you have to go through 2 hours towards the end of it of straight mountains. Never once lost connection. We were streaming Spotify. Absolute game changer because yeah, we were disconnected and didn't have to worry about not having cell service, which we didn't have for the majority of those last 2 hours of the trip, which are generally the most dangerous here in Michoacan. So it worked flawlessly. So again, I'll include this there just so you guys can kind of see it. All right, and now for these last accessories. So I bought this cable. It's basically the standard Starlink Mini cable, but this one has a USB-C end to it there where you can connect it to a power bank, which is where this OmniCharge power bank comes into play there. However, what I learned, and I didn't learn this until today, so I wanted to share this specifically, is that if you connect this directly through, and I'm not sure if this is just this power bank, it supports 60 watts, which technically is sufficient for this cable. It actually keeps powering off and on continuously. So it would be on for about 3-4 minutes and then power off, which made it fairly unusable when we were trying to use it at a ranch that we went to. So the recommendation there is to use an actual 60 watt wall adapter. I don't know if this is going to be the case for every cable, but this one specifically requires that. And then with this one, you can actually connect it here like so, and then it worked with no issue. So again, this is something I learned after the fact. So if you connect this specific cable directly into this, and I don't know if this was just the specific power bank I'm using. It's a very good, power bank, high quality power bank by all means. But it would not work unless we connected this into this for it to continuously charge the Starlink Mini or power it on. So big thing to note there, because if you try using this somewhere, it'll essentially work for the first 3 minutes and then just continuously reboot. So the fix to that was using this. Otherwise, this cable worked great. I thought the cable was just faulty, so I was actually planning on returning this. And then as soon as I tried this 60 watt adapter, it worked with no issues. And again, this is just an Anchor 60 watt adapter there that has been able to work. So recommendation would be to pick up this cable, only $11 on Amazon. This guy's, you probably get one for around $30, $40, fairly inexpensive, and then connect it to here or any really power bank that you have, and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then it could just be specific to this cable. So just one thing to note there. All right, so like I mentioned, overall conclusion is that it's been a game changer. It's been incredibly reliable outside of buying that cable and not realizing that you had to plug it into the power adapter there before having it work, not directly into the power bank itself. Other than that, it's been incredibly reliable. So again, not really a Starlink Mini, more of a user error by all means. But the speeds, I want to go over the speeds because they've been pretty incredible. This morning, and I'll share a screenshot, I was getting up to 250 megabytes down and like 30 up, which is just amazing, especially in this area. We went down to a ranch yesterday. Maybe I'll have a clip of us using it there, which again, I was using it incorrectly because I didn't take little power adapter, which it didn't work too well. But when it was connected, I was getting upwards of 90 down, and this was in the middle of nowhere in a very remote mountain range, which you'll see covered all in mountains. Beautiful area. However, didn't work because I didn't connect it correctly, but we're looking to connect for it with no power source other than a power bank. That is the key, and that's one thing I wanted to point out because again, that was user error on my part. I wouldn't have known had I not used it, but now I know. So all in all, again, just conclusion on it, it's been absolute game changer. This is how I'm utilizing it. Maybe it'll give you some kind of tips or ideas on how you can use it yourself. Mounting it to the windshield was huge. You can do it from the front and the back. Back might be a little bit safer if you do it off in the corner because then it's not hindering your view as you're driving. So maybe good recommendation there. I did do it from the front, kind of off to the right corner, but again, that's kind of be up to you. I never lost any cell service at all or any Wi-Fi service throughout those mountain ranges. I don't have any clips of it, but if you can imagine really sharp turns for 2 hours in literally the middle of nowhere mountain ranges covered by a ton of forest, that's how it worked, and it never lost any connection, which again, just mind blowing. We're listening to Spotify the whole time through, never lost anything. I did some random speed tests on the way there, and I was getting 60 to 90 down, which again is absolutely incredible. Go over data plans real quick. So this one's really important for me because when I went into it, I think I could have gotten away with 50 gigabytes. That's at least my thought, which is $50 currently. However, my recommendation, depending on your data usage, would be to go with the unlimited plan so you don't have to worry about it. I'm really glad I did so because after the second or third day, I was already at way past 50 gigabytes. I've been able to download movie. Obviously, I've been streaming music, streaming movies, lots of movies since I've been here, probably too many. But just not having to worry about doing downloads. I did a big software update on all of my devices too while I was here, just because there just happened to be a new software update that came up. I didn't have to worry about it. Did it within an hour because again, speeds are that great, and it was just nice not to have to worry about it. I'm gonna include a screenshot, but last time I checked, I'm already at 120 gigabytes on that unlimited plan, and I've only been using it for about 3 to 4 days now. And so that just goes to show how quick data can be used. My recommendation is if you are going to be using it for more than maybe a week, go with the unlimited plan. You'll be happy you did so. You don't have to worry about capping it or anything like that. But again, it's going to be based off of your data usage. So maybe look at it if you can, try to get an estimate. But the unlimited has been the way to go for me. What I'll do as well, so I mentioned I would leave links. So I'm going to leave links to everything I've used as well as a referral link. So if you do want to get the Starlink Mini, get a first month for free. I believe you get a credit. You have to pay for the first month and you get a credit afterwards. Double check on that, but at least you get somewhat of an incentive for that. It's also discounted right now at $230 versus the normal price at I think $300, even though it came down from $600 at one point when it was first introduced almost a year ago now. Highly recommend it. I really can't recommend it enough. I'm just mind blown. Every day I'm doing speed tests just because it's just phenomenal. I'm able to watch 4K videos, no problems. Yeah, everything's just great. So do you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. Don't know how many people will actually end up watching this, but I just hope maybe 1 or 2 people can kind of see this and find it useful and maybe get some questions answered that they were thinking of. But again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll make sure to answer and just happy to help where I can. Want to share my experience.